versus Richburg based in Germany. A5. Not focused on the center, but rather focused on neutralizing Black's abilities to infiltrate the rook files, namely the queenside file, the A file. In other words, A5 is designed to permanently shut down a breakthrough on the queenside by preparing to close the A file. Therefore, my move A6 is strategically paradoxical because it allows white to close the A file for good. So, strategically speaking, this looks very bad for black. But in fact, black has a very interesting idea associated with creating weaknesses on the queen side. The idea is that after knight c6 and d5, black can take on a5, and the point is that black will create light square weaknesses on the queen side. How? By targeting the dark squares. Notice how the c5 pawn is pretty loose. Black wants to add a lot of pressure to the dark squares so that white will then defend those dark squares, and in doing so, white will leave behind holes on the light squares for the bishop and the queen to use later. So this opening system with a6 and knight c6 is strategically double-edged. On one hand, white closes the A file, which is considered a success in preventing an infiltration. On the other hand, black is creating light square weaknesses, and also he will be able to use the C file for the rook. And since I already analyzed this game, I already know what I did right and what I did wrong. I had checked with Multiara, or rather Tamara, derived from Tamura. So all this is good for black so far. Take bishop d7 is a nice idea because we activate the passive rook on a8 by putting it on c8 so that we can add further pressure to the dark squares and the c file and force white to give up light squares. So he plays d4, and I can already force a win by playing c takes b6, forcing a takes b6, and after a5, black is completely winning. For example, e5, a takes b4, a takes b4, rook a8. Notice how the a4 square is vacant for the rook, which means all we need is a queen behind to force an infiltration. So for example, after e4, rook a4, d3, queen a8, and let's just say h5, we will take, and after he takes back, he can play some move like b5, I guess, but, well, uh, we have this really deep idea of bishop c8, which is like prophylaxis against c6, because if he plays c6, then we are completely winning after queen a5, with the point being that we will take the b6 pawn, but also he cannot defend it, but also he cannot close the a file completely because these pawns on c3 and c2 are too weak. So then the queen, after taking b6, can come back to a5 or to a4. And by the way, if he takes here and tries to defend with b4, it's futile. We will just take it and play queen a8 and destroy the queen side. He cannot defend. So, for example, b2, queen takes a5 is simply running into a future queen a4, queen takes c4, queen takes a2, and then our queen gets behind. After d4, I missed c takes b6 and instead played e6, which is a very big mistake. He finds the right idea. He takes once and plays f5. That's absolutely good for him. So I take on d5, and again I can try this same plan, which I did. I found this plan later, right? And now I can play rook a4 and queen a8. But the problem with black's position is after rook a4, d3, queen a8, e5, and rook takes, b takes, queen takes, and b5. The problem of black's position is that white has a very aggressive presence in the center because there are no black pawns to slow down white's counterplay. Therefore, he can conjugate counterplay on both the center and the queen side at once in order to overwhelm the defensive tasks of all my pieces, because we are missing these pawns on f7 and e7. So for example, first of all, queen takes a1 is just losing by force after something like c6 and c5. But secondly, even if we find this idea with bishop c8 intending to meet c6 with queen a5, the problem of black's position once again is that the center is too much for black to deal with. So I will check engine one more time just to make sure, but I believe that it was after f6 that white is winning, basically. So let's check Lee ground. f6 should just win on the spot, but maybe not. Okay, so d6, huh? The d6, I guess, is to what is the point of d6? Just maybe Just because there's no other move, I guess. So d6. And if queen takes a1, then, okay, c6. What if queen a5? That's what I'm wondering about. Then somehow this is like completely winning for white, just for position reasons. Okay, interesting. So I guess based on the absence of this e7 pawn, white can be allowed to expand and build a dark square pawn chain network starting with d6. Again, thanks to the fact that there's no black pawn on e7. That makes all the difference between a strategically winning position and strategically losing position. Intuitively, I knew that rook a4 was too slow, so I tried something else. I tried to liquidate his asset on the queen side, but objectively, it does nothing good for me. So my position is completely losing, although it was already completely losing anyway after e6. And I just try to survive, basically, but not much that I can do. I take these pawns, but white is still winning because of something like g5, for example. I mean, and it takes too much time for my queen and king to work together to actually uh, destroy any of white's pawns. He plays like b7, which and then just resigns. I don't know. When I check Multiara, or rather Tamara, or rather like Cyborg Tamura, uh, I I guess that white is winning in this position, and then now black is winning. But I almost lost, and the reason for that is because I played this terrible, terrible move, e6. And next game, I have not checked. Uh-huh. My idea with h5 is to close the h-file because he has no infiltration on the queen side because he has no pawn on the d-file. But I run into some problems. First of all, taking on e6 is probably ridiculous. I should rather play almost anything, just h4 or just g6 or just take on h6. I think taking on e6 is ridiculous. Maybe I'm wrong. I have to play e5 because I need to stop knight f6. Okay, maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about because maybe taking on e6 is also fine. Why not? I guess that I had misremembered my position around move 9 to be much worse than it really is. I like my position here. I think my position's okay. So I play c6, and then instead of b5, I should play Well, maybe c6 is wrong, right? Instead of c6, I should just calmly develop just e4, d3, e3, d2, then c6 or something. Maybe he will play c6 himself, but that's okay. So c6 should be like mistake because his bishop attacks c4, so therefore I cannot play b4, and that is what I missed. So, and he finds this really strong idea, bishop takes c4, which I completely missed. I guess that technically I should then instead play d3, right? But, right, so I cannot defend b5 pawn at all. So my position is just completely losing. And it's pretty much a result of, I guess, just c6, honestly. I'm just underdeveloped. I need to develop before I allow him to undermine my queenside. So just play d3 or something, because his bishop's on f7. Now this game, this time he tries b takes c7, and I think that I will have to check engine because this opening for black is just so concrete. If you make one wrong move, then white is just completely winning. So I need to make sure that black's ideas are correct. So let's do this thing. And then copy paste the fen. I need to like open PGN, or we can edit with Notepad++ and do this, I guess. Even this doesn't really matter. Save. Okay. And just open it, and we got this game. So after b4, I guess there's not many options, so okay, queen d8 looks logical because we want rook c8, yeah. But I find this, like, okay, I find my position hard somehow, so maybe, yeah, I need like queen d8 or something. Or apparently e takes f5, e takes f5, and then queen d8. I understand queen d8. The idea is that we want to consider like a b6 pawn sacrifice. But, okay, but here we need something else. Aha. Then maybe e takes f5 is bad. I guess it does not properly understand this position. In that case, maybe maybe better to start with bishop d7 in that case. But again, it allows e5, so I'm not sure myself. Is this b takes c7 looks promising for white. Maybe we need some different move besides e6, but I'm not sure. Yeah, honestly, I never considered this. Maybe it's a refutation to the entire a6 opening. Interesting. Well, let's just check some critical moments. First of all, I think I should have taken on d5, although computer likes my queen d8. I was not sure what to do after d6, but apparently somehow good for black. I find bishop a4, I guess, well, to threaten the d6 pawn, play knight e7, but again I just lose the opening battle. This is kind of desperate. Okay, at this point I think I could be winning, right? Maybe. Apparently not. Yeah, maybe white is faster somehow by a couple tempi, but I guess he doesn't find all the moves. Okay, I'm curious about this position. So white is winning. Am I not fast enough? Interesting. He resigns in this position, but actually white can continue the game and win. So, wow. So, what happened? Where did I go wrong? Well, uh, apparently I should build a fortress or something. I don't even know. Uh, but it seems that the b takes c7 and b4 line pretty much refutes this entire system with a6 and knight c6, I guess. I don't know. Maybe there are some other ideas that black can try, like with e6 here or something. But, uh, that's the problem with anti-positional ideas. You need to uh, know every correct move by heart, otherwise you just completely lose. It's generally easier to just play uh, strategically good ideas because uh, they tend to work out even if you miss a tactical idea. So that's all I have for this game. Uh, I will need to do some deeper analysis at home. But another opening problem. Okay, this game I win. A5 is maybe not correct or something because we don't care if black plays A5, I guess. I could be wrong. I like my position here though. Perfectly fine with this position. Let's just check this position on move 22 and see what the computer thinks. Because I assume Move 22. I assume that white is better. This time we are just pasting a fen. Ah, I did not want to paste PGN. Okay. Here we go. Who's better? Ah, apparently black is completely winning. Then we went wrong somewhere earlier, so let's paste this PGN and check the engines. So open PGN, let's just do the same thing. Save. Open. And let's check. Do I play H5 or do I play A5? Yeah, I kind of assume that H5 is like the most correct move in this position because again, we liquidate the black D pawn off the board, therefore we don't have to worry about his A5 idea because our dark squares are strongly defended due to the absence of the D pawn. But I play A5, which is not a blunder. I mean, it's transpositional move, actually. But let's see. H6, a D4, D7, A4, take, take. Okay. Somehow black is still better, but and not as much as before. And apparently, I should do something. Okay, B6. I don't like this move B6. I don't believe in it. But maybe I don't have a choice because he does have this B6 move which is really strong. And I guess that he demonstrates it. So it seems as if I was never actually okay in this game. But I kind of create a position where he has to be really precise. With every move, black's position kind of becomes worse and worse, but still winning, still okay. And then, let's see, knight takes e5, right. That's kind of a scary move to make because I just reinforce my whole position with like g4 or something. I don't know. He will play queen f4 if I do misstep. And now all of a sudden I'm winning. I play h6, which is okay, and then he blunders h7. So, from a practical standpoint, my position is okay around this point, but it should be lost. So, what did I do wrong in this game? It's hard to say. Basically, you can just say that a5 is just a wrong move because he forces open the h file, and we're not worried about him forcing open the a file. So just play h5 and g6. I wonder about my bishop takes, or d takes e6 move. But okay, g6 looks very natural and solid. I like this for white. But anyway, oops. My position's okay here, but he, uh, the problem is he plays like c6, so I don't know. C6 is kind of deep, I guess, but very strong. So I don't know what to do differently besides uh, just consider a5 as kind of wrong move. But I got a fighting position, right? Like right here. Now let's take a look at this last game. This is probably the most important game of all because uh, I won the opening battle, but I lost the middle game battle. So, or uh, what happened to Lichess? Oh, league round. Save. Open. Okay, let's see what. So I tried this idea with bishop takes f5, and I should win the opening battle by now. Yeah. So I find this should be winning for black after some extensive analysis. Aha, f4. Okay. Rook takes h2, g takes, and e6. Um, queen takes h1, f5, very natural. I take it, and then he takes back. Okay. And somehow he's kind of recovering, as a matter of fact. And I'm completely lost here because, well, I do not have king d8 because of d6, and then he's just threatening like f7. So maybe I should take g2. I thought it didn't work either, but after f4 I have this move, queen g4, but he can actually just sacrifice with e4. So looks like I'm wrong. I actually lost the opening. Interesting. But I would like to check with Lichess Engine because uh, feels like playing against Engine maybe. So e5, d6. Okay, let's turn on the arrows. I almost wonder that like maybe he turned on the engine. Because in first games he was playing a5 and now he's playing e5 and just identical moves. Probably could be cheating. E4 engine, good g4 engine, but natural of course. Okay, hg engine, f6 engine, h6, d4 engine. Every move, every single move is engine. He plays e3, which is not engine, although it suggested it for like a split second. e3, h7. Okay, d5 is not engine. Okay, f4 is engine. Uh, e6 engine, f5. G6 is not engine. Okay, I don't think he cheated. I don't think he cheated, because if he cheated, then he would probably choose f7, but no human's going to choose f7, right? They're gonna play g6. It looks so much better, right? So I don't think he cheated, but yeah, just all the natural moves match the engine. But simply put, I just get completely losing position. Again, king d8 is futile because of d6, or even e4. Stockfish thinks black is recovering, but Multi-Ara can tell that white is winning. Yeah, like, I don't think this truly works. Why not just, I don't know. Can we get away with e7? I guess not. But we will play. We will just develop, and his pieces are kind of paralyzed. Hmm. Yeah, I don't believe that black has any chance here. But maybe king d8 is better than what I did, right? So, yeah, king d8 is the best resistance, but it's not enough. And I guess that. How did I lose this game? Well, I don't know. I would need to do some more research with Multi-Ara, but it's another concrete opening for black with bishop takes f5. The idea is kind of similar. You just create some square weaknesses on the king side by sacrificing the pieces so as to manipulate the pawn structure. But in short, uh, games were very instructive to kind of indicate uh, how important memorizing the opening theory can be if your ideas are anti-positional. And it demonstrates the importance of having uh, really good strategic understanding, because you can use strategic understanding without too many concrete ideas and be very well off. All right, well, thank you. Um, for my next games, I will be prepared to handle these kind of players without any issue. Thank you.